So, welcome to the latest edition of DiBella's Digest with the man himself, Lou DiBella. How's your week been, Lou?
It's been another strange one, man. I mean, I'm still, at this point, I know that I'm not going. My two minor league baseball teams are not going to be playing, but I've not been fully notified by. We haven't been notified by Major League Baseball of that, so I'm not allowed to announce that or really say it publicly. But I don't think there's going to be a minor league baseball season in my two cities. Boxing is back here, but so are COVID-19 rates, and it seems like in half the United States, the infection level is getting out of control again, and the number of deaths here are about 1,000 a day in the country. And now, yesterday, I read in the New York Times that the EU is considering a travel, basically extending a ban on travel from the U.S. beginning in July. So it's a very uncertain time over here right now. So it's still an uncertain time in boxing. There's no definitive date on when the zone's coming back in the U.S. There's some scheduled stuff from PBC, but there's no indication that we're returning toward any greater sense of normalcy. We're pretty much where we were a week ago, the week before that.
Well, talking of a week ago, we discussed Regis Prograis last week, and at the time you were looking for a new opponent for him after Maurice Hooker, in your words, F the fight up, in terms of the weight clause and delaying Prograis' career, really. Where are we at? I'm sorry, go on.
We had some conversations with Matchroom and Eddie about doing Regis. Regis would give the zone the opportunity to do his next fight if we can come up with an opponent and a date. Regis is ready to fight. And we talked about Pablo Cano, who was the guy that knocked out Linares a year ago, and then won another fight after that. He's a huge puncher. He's moved up to 40. It's a risky fight. Do I think Regis beat Cano? Yeah. Do I think Cano's dangerous? No. He has one punch knockout power, so it would be I think, an explosive kind of fight, and we would take it. But then I'm talking to Eddie about it, and then Eddie does an interview yesterday with someone where he says he doesn't think that he's going to use either Hooker or Regis if they don't fight each other, and I can't do anything about bringing Hooker to the fight. So, I'm talking also to Showtime at the moment. I've had conversations. I spoke to Stephen Espinosa last night. I'm supposed to get back to him. I've had a conversation with Top Rank. Regis needs to fight. But I can't be held hostage because Maurice Hooker is the welterweight.
Another fight I'm guessing yourself and Eddie Hearn have been discussing, and we've seen lots of different rumours swirling around. I know you addressed some of them on social media, is Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. And you basically made the case on Twitter, and I don't think many people would have disagreed with you, that why would you advise your fighter to take a pay cut when you've got a contract written out for a specific purse, and if it just means waiting until crowds are allowed back in, then that's the way it has to be.
You know what, kid, look, Eddie, Sunday afternoon, U.S., Sunday night, UK, Eddie came back and said, I'll go to the full purse. That being said, I had told Amanda weeks earlier that she wouldn't be fighting before the fall because I was told to tell her that without a pay cut, the fight would not happen until there could be crowds again. I completely, by the way, I'm empathetic with Matchroom taking the position of asking for a cut because clearly it's expensive, all the testing and whatever fight camps being established and the way that now fights are going to be done is fairly expensive. And it's expensive with reduced revenue. So I understand asking, but I don't think it's unreasonable for the fighter involved to say I would rather wait, particularly. And also, I knew that Amanda Serrano was going to take that position because even when, through all these negotiations, they've always felt like a little bit like they were secondary to Katie and et cetera. And there's been, these were not easy negotiations. So I wasn't surprised when they took the position that they wanted to be paid the full purse. I think the issue now relates less to now and then when the gym is empty, if someone will let her sneak in. But it's her and Jordan. There's no sparring. She can't spar. The boxing gyms are not open in the States. And is it unreasonable for them to take the position that I'm simply not willing to go to Eddie's backyard at this much of a disadvantage? And did I lose you?
We've lost the picture temporarily, but obviously I can still hear you. Feel free to continue. I'm sure the picture will come back.
I don't know why the picture went away in the first place.
me neither. But, there you are.
Okay, there we are. Can you see?
Yeah, you've gone portrait again, but yeah, that's it.
So, the other issue is that we're sitting here in New York. The New York Times put out yesterday with an article talking about a ban on travel to the EU from the United States potentially beginning in July. Now, maybe England goes along with that, and maybe because you're not part of the EU, you don't. Given the relationship between our crazy fucking president and your crazy fucking prime minister, maybe they don't. But is there reason to think that August 22nd is still for her to get from New York to the UK and go through all the protocols and fight? Is it fair? Is there a possibility the fight could be postponed the third time? I think certainly you have to say it is. And I personally believe that all things were equal, and if they felt they could train appropriately, I've made it very clear to Amanda and her team that I think that getting the deal at 100% of the purse in this time frame with what's going on in the world is a great advantage in terms of making a living and advancing your career. Also, if Eddie says, fuck it, this fight doesn't happen in August, I don't want to pay this money anymore, I'm not going to keep the deal in place, it's not clear that there would ever be that kind of payday again. But that being said, you're looking for a 7-time world champion, you're fighting a fight that's going to determine potentially the preeminent female fighter in the world, and there's this much uncertainty. Has trained twice already, it's been postponed twice, you're heading to a third one, cases are surging in the U.S., your gyms aren't open and you can't spar in New York. There are some points on the other side. And as a promoter and someone that co-promotes with Eddie in a number of occasions, I completely understand the frustration on his end. But on the other side, what do I say? I mean, if Amanda goes to England and someone in the camps tests positive and protocols dictate that the fight can't happen, it's another couple of months that she's not getting paid anything, and another further taxing her body and training for a fight without a definite end. So, things aren't black and white in this world right now, Danny. Right now, the uncertainty of this world we're operating in right now, it's not black and white, and it's a little less clear who's right and who's wrong and who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. I mean, when you look at other sports operating around the world right now, for the most part, in fact, almost across the board, the players have the option of opting out if they don't want to get paid.
Sure.
Because they don't want to run the risks inherent. And right now, the deal's not done yet, and Amanda has not agreed to get on a plane and go to the UK for an August 22nd fight yet. As of Sunday, so a couple of days ago, Eddie's come back to offering the full amount for August 22nd. But there are a lot of concerns that Amanda's team has raised, and right now we're not done yet.
Let's end on a subject in which you're maybe a little less personally invested, and that's the rumoured intentions of Oscar De La Hoya to consider a comeback, having not been in the ring for such a long time. Is he just bored? Has he got too much time on his hands?
I don't know what it is. I mean, come on. I mean, he was faded. He was one of the greatest fighters I ever worked with. And he was a great, great fighter. He wasn't that when he retired. And you're not better at 47. And without, back has consistently been a clean liver feud. So, like, is there any reason to think at 47 years old? I mean, I don't think it helps for to talk about all this stuff. And I get when you're an ex-athlete, your body tells you you can still do things. Your head tells you you can still do things. You miss the limelight. Maybe you are bored, but it doesn't make it the right thing to do. And it doesn't. It's not real. I mean, right now we need to fix the world we're in, and we need to fix our sport within the world we're in. And I don't even want to think about like rumors of Oscar coming back. I don't take it very seriously. I don't think it's the end of the world for him to entertain that notion. But something good will come of it, and I don't believe ultimately he's going to come back.
Well, Lou, as always, really appreciate your time. Hopefully there'll be some good news on your side within the next week. I know you're not...
It's like, in the last week I had a guy get canceled, Mikel Lapierre gets canceled on ESPN. His fight is we talked about it last week, those guys about the fight. And his fight gets postponed. His guy tests negative for COVID on Tuesday, positive for COVID on Wednesday, and then negative for COVID on Friday and Saturday. So is it a false positive? I don't know. I think that everyone was right because you got to be safe, not sorry in these times. But we're operating in such a period of uncertainty, and that kid took days off from work, fly to Vegas to go there. Now he's come back and the fight's rescheduled. But I mean, it's not. We got to be understanding of the position of the promoters and the managers and the networks and the streaming services, but we also do have to be understanding of the positions of the managers, of the managers and the fighters and the trainers. Sure. There's and for fighters to train multiple times in the same fight, only to have that fight canceled multiple times, you get paid nothing. A lot of the work a fighter does is in preparation for a fight. The fight itself is, for a woman, is 10 2-minute rounds and a minute off in between. But there's weeks of work that goes in before that performance. And if those weeks of work happen with no compensation and through no fault of anyone, there's 2 postponements. I think you got to be understanding why those people are concerned about going on an airplane and leaving a hotbed of COVID in the United States right now to go to the UK with that risk that maybe August 22nd doesn't go off without a hitch. I'm appreciative of Eddie coming up to the number in the contract, as I think he should have, on Sunday, and I know he wants to make this fight. I want to keep it also. But do I know that it's going to happen right now? No, there are still remaining issues. And by the way, the issues we're talking about, put the Amanda Serrano fight to the side. These issues are why no promoter is scheduling their biggest and best product right now. It's because of the uncertainty, because of the risk that a star fighter is preparing, and a lot of money is spent preparing for a major event. I mean, if a Canelo Alvarez fight is scheduled in September, and then that goes down in the last few days, that's a disaster. So that's one of the reasons why I think you're seeing people trying to be so careful about jumping back right now.
Well, Lou, thank you as always. Very insightful, and we'll see how things develop over the next 7 days.
We will. It's never a dull moment, Danny. That's one thing that's true. I have a lot of phone calls to make today, many of which on both sides, with my fighters and with my business associates, are going to be difficult calls.
This is your least stressful phone call of the day.
I think this probably is my least stressful phone call of the day. So thank you for that, Danny Blunt.
I'll take it.
Pleasure, my friend.
You're welcome. All right. Take care, Lou. Bye.